Hello, I am Henry Rollins, and today I am interviewing Mr. Tom Morello, activist, singer, songwriter, guitar legend, and tremendous provocateur. Tom, what was your introduction to Amnesty International?
I'd heard of Amnesty International when I was in high school, but Amnesty entered my, I thought about Amnesty International for the first time during the Human Rights Now tour. There was an HBO special, and I think it featured Sting and Peter Gabriel and Bruce Springsteen, and I was, at the time I was a fledgling guitar player, and I was really kind of overwhelmed by the power of the concert and how it reached into every home that had cable, every home that had cable, with a message of human rights. And to me, I was like, wow, there's musicians. You know, 'cause at the time I was already a fledgling activist in high school, and I was a beginning guitar player. I thought, wow, you can do this on a big scale where you can have impact. And they were touting some of the successes of Amnesty in getting specific political prisoners out of jail, and the campaigns that were going on. And they were asking me and everybody in their homes to enjoy the concert, but to call this number. I forget what the action was they asked us to take. And to me, it felt like this is real grassroots activism on a huge international scale.
And how was that different? Because you said you started activism,
Yeah.
then.
Yeah.
How was Amnesty International different than other agencies that you had seen and had dealt with at that time?
Yeah, well, prior to the concert and learning more of the specifics of what Amnesty does, they weren't radical enough for me. I was the one anarcho-syndicalist in my high school. But then when I heard the real life stories of the people who were being aided, and by the international web of concern, and taking these young teenagers and sometimes preteens to write this letter, and that this mass action, which was easy to do and had tremendous results, that was very impactful. And I started thinking about music and activism, and it's the synergy between the two in a different way, just from that concert.
Right. One of the things I've always liked about Amnesty International, they don't come on heavy or self-righteously, which is a real turnoff for me. You want my money and you want me to be concerned, but you're kind of bragging to me about how great you are. Mm-hmm. Where Amnesty International just seems to be begging the world for mercy.
Yeah.
Like, let's take care of each other.
Yeah.
If you can donate something, great. If you can't, that's cool too, but keep us in mind.
Yeah.
And that's why Amnesty International's always had a great appeal to me, because it's wanting the world to help the world.
Mm-hmm.
And it's about time. Because I think we're going to have a problem in this country. Quite often when we talk about human rights, we always think about, well, in Africa they're having problems, or in Eastern Europe, I don't know, South America, but we have problems with food and water and basic kindness in this country. And I think Amnesty International is going to be doing a lot of work on behalf of Americans. The last group of people you would really think would be in need.
Yeah.
I mean, have you been thinking about
that? I mean, one thing that Amnesty has always done very successfully, I think, has been able to maintain a moral high ground. Even during the conflict with the Soviet Union, they would call out, the Soviet Union for their human rights abuses, and at the same time call out the United States for their human rights abuses, in Central America, and their collusion with apartheid in South Africa. And it's really like a very clear moral voice that, jailing someone for ideas is wrong, and and that does not have a left or a right stamp to it. It is always wrong, and this is what we need to address. As far as in the year 2009, and a basic human right should be shelter. A basic human right should be food. Tonight in Los Angeles, where we're doing this interview, there are 75,000 homeless people. 15% of those are kids, so I can't do the math, but like 12,000 or so homeless children on the streets tonight. To me, that's not, that's more than an injustice. That's a crime. And I think there are some that, one of my hopes is that the economic injustice, rather than just sort of political injustice, is something that Amnesty takes a head on in the years to come.
What do you think is going to take in America for Americans to really get up and start addressing and assessing these issues? Because as it is now, I think this country suffers from, well, it can't happen here because we're America. We do everything. We can do everything better than everyone. Okay, great. But this guy's hungry, and that guy is foreclosed upon, and that whole family's at the bus station tonight, and dinner's going to be some Snickers bars.
Yeah.
and do you think it's going to we're going to have to hit the ground harder for everyone to kind of drop the ego trip and start seeing that we really have to help each other? I mean, what's it going to
Well, I
take?
mean, I think that a deep